So we're going to go straight in and look at the England squad. Big names not in there. Stephen, I'm looking at you because Trent Alexander-Arnold. What are your thoughts on that? What's kind of going wrong at the moment at Real Madrid and him not being selected?
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it's not the first time he's not been in a squad. Whether it's Thomas Tuchel or Gareth Southgate, he divides opinion. And I think it was interesting, Thomas Tuchel's comments sort of saying that, yes, he's great going forward, but defensively he's not quite got those qualities that perhaps you want as a fullback. And we knew that anyway. He's been tried in midfield, he's been tried in different positions. I think there's an element where the move at Real Madrid at the moment is probably being a little bit more difficult than he anticipated, whether that's just settling into the rhythm of the team or settling into the system that Xavi Alonso wants to play. But listen, he's had these doubters before. He'll bounce back, it won't be an issue for him. He'll take that as motivation to push him forward and to come back a better player.
Yeah, I actually heard Guillem Balaguer talking about the Spanish media saying about how Trent's too shy, he's not fitting in, and kind of does he have to block out that noise, Ellen, and prove kind of those people, those doubters wrong?
Well, he did his whole press conference when he signed in full Spanish. I thought they might have fallen in love with him because he'd obviously taken a lot of time to learn the language and he wants to be embraced by everyone. But yeah, I think it takes time. It's a new culture, something completely different, a huge club, the magnitude of the club and the fans and the support. So I think he just needs time.
I don't get it, mate, because why can't you just be your own person? If you want to come out and speak to the press, you come out and speak to them. If you don't and you're a quiet, reserved person, you want your own time, why can't you just respect that and say that's what you want? However, that doesn't take away from what he's doing on the pitch and why he's not being chosen for England. The Spanish press haven't chose that. The Real Madrid fans haven't chose that. That is the England manager and his decision solely.
Yeah, Sami, I suppose you reported on it a lot with the whole transfer and, you know, there was a lot of people thinking he should have stayed at Liverpool. He's chose to make that move. What are your thoughts on it? In regard to, actually, it's the World Cup year as well.
That's absolutely right. But these are always the dangers, right, I guess, for players. And Stephen will know more than me, Ellen will know more than me, in terms of the things that you think about when you're deciding whether to make a move or not. It's, will I get into the England team? Will I play regularly where I am? Obviously, he's backed himself to go to arguably the biggest club in the world. It's now up to him to prove that he's up to it and that he can break into that team. And if he can play regularly at Real Madrid, I think Thomas Tuchel will be hard-pressed not to bring him back into the squad. I just think at the moment he's in a position where maybe other players are fitter than him. He's not in a starting 11 at Real Madrid, so it's difficult for him. But yeah, I don't think we should write Trent Alexander-Arnold off at the moment.
I think there's other things that come into it as well. You look at the relationship he had with Mohamed Salah down that right-hand side. They understood each other's game. The midfielders understood when he stepped into midfield or drove down the right-hand side that there was going to be a gap in right-back, so you've got to fill that for him, you've got to help him. The right centre-back knows defensively he's not the greatest, so he might over-cover and help him out a little bit more. Well, the Real Madrid players are still getting to know him and trying to understand that. So then, once that comes together throughout the season and he gets a little bit more confidence and he starts spraying these balls and he starts assisting, suddenly everything starts to change and the perception of him starts to change. At the moment, everyone's going, we've signed a right-back who can't defend. Well, if you'd have watched him, you know that it's not his greatest quality. His quality is going forward. Real Madrid will dominate the football, so he will have his great games, but there will be games where he struggles defensively. Yeah. But that's a weakness that he's got, which he does need to improve on, and he will improve on, I'm sure.
And also, does it come down to, actually, let's talk about the manager, Thomas Tuchel. He's had, obviously, Chelsea manager, that relationship with Chelsea's right-back, Reece James, and he's always kind of loved him and favoured him in that position.
Yeah, absolutely. And the big thing in football is that will all of us have a different opinion on a player, on a system, on a team? That's football, and it's just one guy's opinion, who's the manager of England, whether he picks him or not, and it's just an opinion, and that's what it comes down to. Sometimes you get a guy who loves you, sometimes you get opinions where are a little bit split.
Yeah. Ella, talk to me about Jack Grealish, because we're saying about Trent making that move. Obviously, Jack's done that move into Everton to play more, and do you think he will fight his way back into this England team?
If he keeps performing the way that he is, obviously 2 assists in the last game for Everton. He looks happy.
Are you giving him an assist for that James Garner one?
I would, absolutely. I'd take it.
I love the stats, though, isn't it? He passed it 5 yards, Garner smashes it in.
Did you not think he was going to score? He knew he was going to
Yeah,
score.
he knew. Great, isn't it?
Yeah, I just think he's happy, and I think he just needs more minutes at the moment.
What about the new boys into the squad? We've got Addison, Spence, Wharton. What's our
Love
opinions?
Wharton.
Yeah, great
Love Wharton. I think he's going to be a superstar. I think obviously he missed out in the summer on the England under-21s, which was a bit of a miss for him because I think it would have given him a great experience of tournament football. Spence is brilliant. He's an athlete, but then I watch him in 1v1 situations and I think I wouldn't want to go up against him. I was at the Super Cup and when they were playing Paris Saint-Germain, we had the Tottenham analysis guys sat next to us and some of the coaching staff. And it was Barcola as he went to try and take Jed Spence on. And the analysis guy or the coach next to me just went, "Not tonight." And I thought, he just knew how strong Jed Spence was. And I was thinking, yeah, he knows how good of a player he is defensively. And it was brilliant to hear that as well, because I'm thinking he's going to come on leaps and bounds. I think it's great for him as well, because you think 18 months ago, and we go back to opinions, there was people saying he wasn't good enough for Spurs and they were going to sell him. Yeah. And then you get the right managers in, you get that right confidence, signs a new deal, gets an England call-up, life suddenly looks completely different, made up for him.
Yes, Sami, from a journalist point of view, what is the view around Thomas Tuchel and this England team at the moment?
Yeah, it's... When he's made changes, and I think the Trent one, I'll go back to Trent. Trent is a unique footballer, right? And I think as journalists, we want to see we want to watch that kind of talent. So for him not to select him this time suggests to me that he's got a certain way of playing, maybe he's a bit more rigid and wants to lock down that right side. But as a journalist, we want to see Trent spraying balls, coming into midfield. It's just a lot more attractive to watch. But, you know, he's got a way of playing. It's one that at the moment doesn't look like it's got Trent Alexander-Arnold in it, which just from a purely personal perspective I think is probably a bit of a crying shame.
Can I throw you one?
You sure can.
What if Amorim gets sacked or leaves and Tuchel goes in there?
To United?
Can you see that happening? Because I could.
Not before the World Cup, no.
Yeah.
Don't you?
No.
Oh, I do.
I can't see
Really?
that.
Before the World Cup, Stephen?
Yeah.
Leave?
Yeah,
No.
I think United is a job that he would be desperate for and he'd love, and he'd think, well, if it's not now, it's never, and I've got to take that opportunity.
That's funny how things have changed around, right? Because you used to look at the England job and be like, no, I don't want that one. But now you look at the Manchester United job. So it's funny, actually, now you're saying that he could walk away from that and go there.
I just think that just the length of contract he signed was, whether it was England's decision, whether it was his decision, it almost allowed him the opportunity to get out quicker if a job came up. I think he loves the day-to-day. I think he's enjoying being England manager because of everything that comes with it. But I think there's an element where he goes, that's Manchester United. I'd love that opportunity. And he'd feel like he can go in there and have an impact. And I think it'd be fascinating to see if that was to happen.
Just to go back to your question, it was the selections of Dan Burn, Jordan Henderson, again, just reeks of like we want to play within a system, and we don't want to be potentially be expressive in how England want to play. Again, from a purely personal point of view, I think it's a bit more of a crying shame, because we've certainly got the players, I think, to play more of an expressive kind of style.